Hello, everybody. How are you? How is everything in your world? Guys, it's time for another album review. This time it's going to be Luke Combs. Now, it's unbelievable how well Luke Combs is going. He's only in his 20s. He has only one album out, and it's a top seller with five, count them, five singles. So let's break down. All I'm going to do is go through the titles of the songs, give you a snapshot of what they're all about. It's not going to be some in-depth, highfalutin music review. This is just an overview of the album. This one's for you too, and this is off the deluxe edition. Let's jump right into it. The first song is Out There. Now, of course, Luke grew up in North Carolina, so when you're growing up in a neighborhood, and he was born in Charlotte, there's a lot of football when you grow up, and he played the neighborhood football, sandlot football, whatever you want to call it. And really, when it comes right down to it, if you ever grew up in that environment, there's two plays. So you get your buddies there, and you're like, okay, you run and do a button hook, and you run out there, and they'll usually point to a house or a tree, or maybe over there is the old man that's always sitting there and at the side of the park, and so they say, you go run out there by the old man. Right? And everybody knows because the guy's always there in the park. So those are the two plays, the short and the long. And so the long is the Out There. And so this song talks about the memories of growing up with your buddies, playing neighborhood football, sandlot football, whatever you want to call it. And then later on, when you're older, and maybe you meet, maybe it's years later, and you say, you know what we should do? We should throw the ball around, and you're getting back together. It's got a lot of memories. It's a great tune. Guys, next is number 2, Memories Are Made Of. Now, Memories Are Made Of is a very dreamy song, a very hazy look into our memories and what they are made of. So it's an idea of what is life itself? Is it the memories? When you think about the memories of your life, okay, from junior high, the time that you were caught kissing the girl at lunch and you were supposed to be those. It's almost like it's a movie, right? And so was it a movie? Did it really happen? So that's what this song is questioning. What are memories made of? They're basically just movies in our brain now, just like tomorrow, this will be a memory. So it's more of a metaphysical song, but it has that Luke Combs down home country with that growly voice. So it adds an earthy dimension to it, but it's really thinking at a higher level about what is life itself all about. And then next we have Lonely One. Now, of course, when you in North Carolina, you're gonna have some dogs, right? And the dogs, what do? They have more dogs. And there's always one dog. Sometimes it's the run of the litter, but not always. There's always a pack of 8 in a litter, 10, 12, however many, could be 4. But then you got the one that's the lonely one. We all know it. It's that one puppy. He's always over by himself, okay? All the others are running around and they jump on you. What's the lonely one doing? He's moping around. He's stumbling around by himself. He's away from the litter, and it's always the case. Sometimes it's the runt. A lot of people say, well, that's the runt. That's what they do. That was an afterthought. Well, this song explores that and makes correlations between that and those among us in real life, among the human population that are lonely. And it makes you question, am I the lonely one? My answer to that is sometimes we are in certain situations. Let's say that you don't get along with your wife's family, okay? And when you go over there, you sit by yourself because they're all crazy. Then you are the lonely one, okay? But then in another situation, you're more comfortable with other groups, maybe from work, then you're not the lonely one. So that's what this song is exploring. Beer Can is an interesting song. That's the next song on the list. You say, well, that's about a beer can. Yes, he's talking about a beer can. He's talking about when you're growing up, and everybody's like, well, let's get some beers, and you're like, well, we're 12. So that's going to be hard, okay? But at a certain age, eventually, most people have a beer at one time or another, and then they like it or they don't like it. But then what do you do with the beer cans? Because once you're 18, and I don't know if North Carolina is a 21 state or if it was when he turned 18, but at a certain point, if you like beer, especially if you're in college, which is all they do. I mean, the studying, see, this is what people don't understand. The studying is secondary to beer intake. All right, and so let's use that as an example. So let's say they went to UNC or wherever they went. Beer is the primary industry of the entire college, the entire scholastic veneer of those brick buildings and that is secondary to making sure that the economy of the college town is sustained, and that's by beer sales, not by liquor sales, not by wine sales. It's beer. And so then what do you do with those beer cans? And that's what this song explores. What do you do with 5 million beer cans that are in your basement from the party of the night before? All right, then Hurricane's a really interesting story because this is a hit that follows up on his other hits, Cyclone and Earthquake. It's the third of a triumvirate of weather songs that he's put together. And hurricane has some correlations to real life. So it talks about hurricanes, what causes them, what atmospheric conditions result in hurricanes, why hurricanes are like tornadoes but on the water, right? But also he's drawing parallels to relationships and how sometimes the water's calm and sometimes it's a hurricane. And if you've ever come home late, all right, and trying to explain to your lady where you've been because you said you were at work, but you smell a little bit like Maker's Mark, well then you're gonna have a hurricane, if you know what I'm talking about. Next is One Number Away. Now, of course, the North Carolina lottery is one of the best lotteries in the country, and they're one of the most popular games in the North Carolina lottery. Where he grew up is one number away. So it's a 6 number lottery, and if you get 5, they call it one number away because you could win $10,000, $15,000, which is, hey, everybody can use that money. But the thing is, you missed out on 50 million. Okay, and so they say. They went ahead and called it the one number away game because you were one number away from winning big and changing your life, but you're also, one number away from you also are able to then pay for the pickup truck that needs a new transmission. You're also able to pay for your school because college's costs are out of control. You're able to pay for your kids' molars when they get their wisdom teeth replaced. You're able to get the wisdom teeth. So there's certain, you win 10 grand. Most of us be pretty happy with that. But then when you lay awake at night and stare at the ceiling, and you think, why didn't I go with 17 on the last number, and I'd be a super millionaire, and we'd get out of this trailer park. Don't Tempt Me. Here is a really fun song, Don't Tempt Me. He's talking about his love of grilled steaks with mushrooms. Now, the thing about it is, we all have our favorite food, but you can have too much of it. You can have it all the time. So he likes grilled steaks with mushrooms, but you can't have it every day. I mean, you can. And so he's trying to cut back. But he goes over to his friend's house, goes over to people's homes, go to fans' house. The fans invite him over because they know he loves grilled steaks with mushrooms, and he's saying, "Man, don't tempt me, please. I need to have a balanced diet. Don't tempt me with the grilled steaks with mushrooms." It's kind of a funny song. Next is When It Rains, It Pours. Now again, this is a song that talks about the human condition, but in terms of when it rains, it pours. So he's talking about when it rains in North Carolina, it never gets so. Most places they say, well, what's it like out there? Is it raining? Oh, it's drizzling. Okay. Or you say, hey, is it going to rain today? They go, well, it might be spotty rain. Or we might just get a little sprinkle. You heard that a lot, sprinkle. See, in North Carolina, where he grew up, they don't have any sprinkles or drizzles or spotty rain. It pours. It rains like God is crying. And the thunder and the lightning. And you think you're going to see an ark come over the hills. Okay, on a rush of water, it rains so much in North Carolina. So that's what he talks about. But he also draws, again, this is what good songwriting is all about: making parallels between the broader theme of the song and the human condition. So he talks about when troubles come, they come in batches. That's what it's all about. Next is This One's For You. This is a very simple song, a melancholy song. It talks about the loss of love, loss of friends, loss of, as we get older, we start to lose things that we love. And he talks about this one's for you. And in that case, he's talking about making cakes for somebody, for their birthday, for their celebration, for their wedding. He's on the side, he loves to bake cakes. And so this one's for you. And he'll call him up and go, look, man, I know it's your anniversary. I baked you a walnut cake. I baked you a pumpkin pie cake. This one's for you. So next is be careful what you wish for. Gosh, how many times have we said that to ourselves? Be careful what you wish for. You're like, if I only had a date with the beautiful girl in my class, if I only had a new car, if I only had a better job, if I could only get away with these knuckleheads that I work with, and I've said that so many times myself. Why is it that you have a good job, but you're dealing with morons? I don't know what it is. It's just a rule of life. So then you get the better opportunity, and what happens? Now you're working 20-hour days. You get the date with a girl, and she turns out she will only go to the best restaurants, which you can't afford. You get the new car, right? And all of a sudden the navigation doesn't work, and they tell you you need new tires because this is a hybrid. It has to have special tires on the back, and you can't, they're $750, whatever it is. Be careful what you wish for. Next was I Got Away With You. Now, think about how good this guy is at songwriting. I got away. Now, you might say, in your brain, you're thinking, I got away from you. But see, this is why he has 5 hits off of this album. I Got Away With You talks about how he made the relationship work. So he got away with it with you. Okay, it was a challenging relationship, but they worked it out. I got away with you. It could also refer to, because some of it refers back to earlier relationships that didn't work out, but this one did. He just said, I got away with it. Next is Honky Tonk Highway. Now this is a song, if you're ever in North Carolina and you're driving down the road, more than not, it's very common that you're going to come up on a honky tonk on the highway. There's so many honky tonks in North Carolina, they have honky tonk highways. And so at every exit, there's a honky tonk on a honky tonk highway. They have some honky tonks. Have you ever been to these exits where they have a travel center built over the freeway? Okay, so that you could actually walk across to the other side. Maybe there's other services over there, other restaurants. Well, they have honky tonk exits with those honky tonk service centers. So you can get everything in a honky tonk service center. You can get every kind of country music available. You can get a cowboy hat, boots, anything related to honky tonkin'. You can get it at a honky tonk exit in North Carolina, and it'll say on the exit sign below that, it'll say honky tonk exit. So that's what they're talking about there, honky tonk highway. It's a great song. It's an upbeat song. Houston, We Got a Problem. Wow, this is the next song. This is one of my favorites. Houston, We Got a Problem. Of course, we've all said that in some kind of scenario where you're in school and your teacher's going crazy for some reason. They're throwing erasers, they're throwing chalk at students, they're hitting people over the head with books. And one student will say to the other, Houston, we got a problem. We got a meltdown in earth science class, that kind of thing. Or maybe you're driving down the road, just minding you're going down a honky-tonk highway, and all of a sudden somebody up ahead is weaving all over, they're stopping, they're speeding up, they're acting crazy. Somebody in the back of the car might go, Houston, we got a problem, right? Because who knows if they had too many Starburst or maybe Twizzlers in their system and they're driving all crazy, right? So that's what this song talks about. It's got a number of scenarios, and then the music stops, and they go, Houston, we got a problem. And so, but here's what will happen after you listen to this song. You'll be saying it to yourself for the rest of the day. It's pretty funny. Must have never met you. This is this is also kind of a funny song because he talks about people. He meets people that he wish he had never met, and then and so in his head he's trying to convince himself, I must have never met you. So it's a mind game. So it kind of flushes their memory out of your brain, because otherwise the pain and agony that they're causing you by being obnoxious and or annoying is too much for the brain. So you talk to yourself. It's called an affirmation. You just say, "Well, I must have never met you," like it never happened. Oh, and here we go. Beautiful Crazy, the big hit. Probably the number one of the 5 singles off. Probably the biggest song he's ever done. I would have to say, So Beautiful Crazy. I mean, what can you say about this song? It's really become a standard, really almost, of country music, and I don't know. It's such a great song that it invokes so much emotion. But let's come back to it, because let's talk about A Long Way, because I want to leave A Beautiful Crazy to the end. I know I'm mixing it up, but we'll get 2 more songs. A Long Way. So A Long Way is talks about that there is no shortcuts to success. Now, this guy paid his dues. He started at the very bottom of the music business and worked his way up. He didn't come up with some crazy country trap song and all of a sudden he's number one in the country. There's nothing wrong with that. But in this case, he did it the old-fashioned way. He took the long way, all right? It talks about building things, slowly building them right, building them with integrity. And that's the way he built his career. Did it work out? Yeah, it worked out. Number one album, 5 singles, and including the last song on this album is number one album, She Got the Best of Me. So She Got the Best of Me is another beautiful song. The guy has an unbelievable voice. I mean, certain artists just have a voice that was made for country music, and this guy. So when he sings "She Got the Best of Me," it sounds like he was born. It sounds like he was born to sing this song, really. So She Got the Best of Me. Yeah, of course, they're playing cards, they're playing pinochle, they're playing euchre, they're playing hearts, they're playing all kinds of games, and they'll even do some poker. They'll play 7-card stud. They'll play straight poker, and every time she wins. Now, why? Well, that's because it's like any other skill. So while he was building his musical skills, she was building her gambling and poker skills, okay, her card playing skills. And so when they meet and they're just say, "Hey, do you want to play a friendly game?" And she's like, "Yeah, sure. Do you want to play for some money?" I mean, she suckers him into betting big. And now what happens? The male ego takes over, and you're like, I just lost $100. Hey, can we play again? She's like, "Sure." I mean, if you want to play again, she hasn't revealed that she's a card shark, a card pro, has been to Vegas many times, won millions of dollars. And he's like, yeah, let's. And then he's like, "Do you want another beer?" Right? Trying to get her, to throw her off her game. Well, she has seen that one before, and she's slowly, pouring the beer on the ground without him looking at it. So it looks like she's drinking it, but she's not. So she's sharp. And what happens? She wins 10, 20, 50, $100,000 from the guy. And so that's the story behind that song. She Got the Best of Me. All right, well, let's go back to Beautiful Crazy. I mean, Beautiful Crazy, it's such a beautiful, lovely, endearing song. And it talks about being in a relationship with somebody that's completely out of their mind. Okay, and we don't mean medically. We just mean, they function in life, and we love them, right? We love these people, but it's a song about somebody that we care about and love so much, but have problems. They have problems that make you insane. Okay, and so it's that dichotomy of loving them so much and laughing and loving them, but wanting to put your hands around their shoulders and not hurting them. You don't want to hurt them, but you just want to kind of shake them a little, like maybe there's something wrong with their machinery or something, right? Maybe they just need a reboot, like a computer. You're looking for the off button, like, well, let me find the power button so I can just reboot you, because you are out of your mind. And it manifests itself in a number of different ways. People that drive crazy, people that walk down the sidewalk crazy. Have you ever been walking behind three or people that take it up the whole sidewalk and you can't go to get around them? Okay? And they might be in your group. Or they're in your group and they're walking way ahead, like they're in some kind of race. We're supposed to be together, but you're 7-8 miles ahead. We lost you, right? Or maybe it's just at dinner, right? And somebody has to start talking and telling a story that has no end. You're like, is there an end to this saga? Because it just keeps going on and on and on. I mean, but you love them, okay? Because in other venues, in other situations, they're the loveliest people you ever want to meet. They were sent down by God to make the world a better place, except for that one bad habit of complaining or telling long stories or blocking the sidewalk or walking way ahead or driving crazy on the road or whatever it is. So I think that Beautiful Crazy is the #1 song on the album, and maybe for many years his standard. The major contribution that he has made to the art form, and that's because he hit it out of the park. It's a great one, guys. Pick up this one for you too. This guy is going to be a country music legend because he nailed it on his very first album, and that means, and he's only in his 20s, so that means that there's nothing but better things to come, which is hard to believe, and it'll be exciting to watch.